Hey, welcome to How to Fix It Workshop. My name is Josh, and in today's video I'm going to give you a little tour of my shop. So my workshop is a two-car garage. It's a relatively small two-car garage, about 360 square feet, and so it's 19 by 19. It's relatively small compared to other two-car garages. It's just big enough for me to be able to fit two cars into it comfortably. Basically the nose is hitting the front wall of the car, and the tail end is up against the garage door. But it is enough room for me to pull two cars in, and it's important for me to pull two cars into the garage because myself and my wife both drive, and we have cars, and we have two teenage kids that both drive. And our driveway is on the relatively small side as well, and so as you saw from the opening shot, I'm always moving cars in and out. With that being said, I wanted to provide a little video here at the tour of the shop, both for my benefit looking back and getting an idea of how things change over the years, but also maybe it'll help somebody along the way. I'll start in the left corner, up near the garage door, and we'll go from there. Alright, so really nothing too exciting about this first corner here. It's just got some chairs hanging, my son's baseball bag over here in the corner, and my sawhorses. And really, I guess the most important thing is that it's pretty well organized, and I only have a couple of items in here. About a week or so ago, I had a whole bunch of other junk in here, some old folding chairs and additional baseball equipment, additional chairs sitting up there. But I got rid of all that stuff, cleaned out that entire corner, and really my goal is to try to keep as little of unnecessary things in here as possible, as few non-woodworking related or non-garage or household related repair type DIY type stuff in the garage as much as possible. So hopefully in time other things will find their way to that corner, more useful things like maybe a dust collector or something along those lines. But for right now, I'm really glad that I have a minimal amount of things in there taking up space because I don't have a whole lot of room whenever we have cars in. And next up here on this long wall is a project that I just finished that I'm pretty proud of. It's a folding miter saw station, but it's also much bigger than that. It's kind of a workbench as well. I always had an idea of putting a miter saw station or some sort of a workbench that would fold into the wall, because whenever we pull a car in, we can fold it into the wall, you can back the cars out and drop it down. So I'll drop that down real quick. I'll show you how easy it is to pull that down. So this thing's pretty cool. Like I said, I'm pretty excited about it, pretty proud of it. It's made out of basically just 2x4s and OSB. It was 2 sheets of 4x8 OSB, and I cut a section of it out so that I could put my miter saw in this little cutout right here. I think I'm going to make a more in-depth video of this because it's something that I haven't seen a whole lot of on YouTube. I've seen some folding workbenches, but never anything that was, kind of designed to be able to put your miter saw in there. And it's going to change and evolve over time, and I'd like to get it to be a little more sophisticated and have a little more detail to it. Maybe even clean it up and put some more some paint it or something, make it look a little nicer. But for right now, it's really functional, and it's really helped me out a lot. As we move over to the front corner of the garage, we have the man door here that goes to the outside, out to the yard. And then I have a couple of closets that I built up front here. The first one on the left is the oldest one. And inside is where I have just general, like automotive type chemicals, jack stand, all that kind of stuff. I have a small kerosene heater down here in the corner. That's what I use to heat the shop, which is, I kind of wish I had it on right now because it's about 45 degrees in here, but it takes a while. Once a kerosene heater, it probably takes at least an hour to warm up the shop. But that's pretty well organized. I tried to keep as little unnecessary stuff in there as possible. There's some like bike parts and kids kid stuff in there that finds its way in there. Every once in a while I just have to clean that up. Also, behind the door here is where I keep a lot of my sockets, wrenches, things like that, things for the car, around the house, that sort of thing. And then this closet here I just finished within the last few days. It's basically made out of 2x4s, no SB, very simple design. What I chose to do with this is I've had these bins. I got all the different things that I need for, like say plumbing, painting, electrical, drywall. I got it all separated into these individual totes, both on these shelves as well as another door up here on top. There's a couple totes in there as well. But I got all these separated so that anytime I have a project, whether it's here or I have a couple of rental houses, I can just grab what I need. I can grab paint, everything's in one tote. I can grab all the electrical stuff. If I'm doing an electrical job, I can grab all that. It's all in one tote. I can grab, plumbing. It's really nice to have all that organized. There's some other stuff in here too, shoes, some paint, things like that. As we move over to this wall, further down the wall, past that closet, this is an area that needs a lot of work, needs a lot of attention. I've spent a lot of time trying to keep it as organized as I possibly can. But what this is an old entertainment center. This is pretty well built, like solid oak entertainment center that my wife and I inherited probably 10, 15 years ago. And back in the day, you used to have the big 37-inch or 32-inch tube TVs that were in that big center part there, and then it had all the doors and drawers for your VHS tapes and all that sort of thing. And I dismantled it whenever we no longer needed it, and I had it just taking up space in the basement. And I decided I put it back together and kind of modify it so that I could use it for my tool organization. And it's been here, it's served its purpose for quite a while now. I think I've had it in the garage now for at least 5 or 6 years. But behind the doors, where I store a miter saw, air compressor, drawer here in the middle has a lot of just miscellaneous items, kind of a mess in there. But I know where just about everything is in these doors here. A lot of hand tools, toolbox, variety of things like that. Same with the doors down here, a lot of hand tools. So it does a pretty good job of organizing all of my tools and keeping them within arm's reach, but it's not the ideal design. What I'd really like to do is build a workbench that's going to go the length of this wall here, about 6 feet wide. Have my table saw over there in the corner, which is foldable Hitachi table saw. That's going to stay, but what I'd like to do is build a workbench along this wall here, and then have a bunch of either cabinets or like cubby shelves or whatever on the sides that I could design individually for all of my hand tools, and everything would have its own individual space. And then up above that cabinet there is just kind of a catch-all. There's just a lot of mess up there, a lot of things. Sometimes I have a stool here that I've been working on that's kind of in process. I have an old stereo. That stereo is probably as old, if not older, than that entertainment center there, and that probably just needs to go. It's got these giant speakers here in the corner that it sounds okay and everything still works, but it's just kind of taking up space, and it's probably that space would be better served for other tools and things like that. So that's going to be the plan for 2019, is just to kind of reorganize this space, get some better shelving and things like that for my tools. And then as we make our way to the other side of the garage, the other side of the shop, this wall here I got pretty well set up to be most of the organization of the small parts. I have this cabinet here that I built. It's basically the idea with this cabinet was that it was going to be like just a hand tool storage, screwdrivers, probably eventually put like wrenches and a variety of other things in there. It's relatively new to the shop. I got a lot of ideas with it, just haven't had the time to add everything in there that I want. Sort of a dartboard was kind of my idea 2 folding doors, hand tool storage on the inside. And then this down here for years has been basically the only workbench, the only tabletop or work surface that I've had in the shop, and it's an old tabletop that I would use my sawhorses and stand it on, and I would do everything that I needed to do in the shop on that surface there, from miter saw station to glue up, to finishing, to everything that I had to do. And then above that I have all of my finishing supplies and my glue. All of that's kind of nice to have in one spot there, all pretty well organized. Moving down the wall a little bit, I have this is an old bathroom, I don't know, like shelf that I salvaged from somewhere, able to put some of my tape and paper towels on there. Inside here I have my charging station, basically just a couple of batteries there charging. Then moving a little further down the wall, I have all my nails and screws and everything in this compartment here. Built this out of just scrap wood. A lot of my things are just kind of built out of scrap wood. This was just some old OSB. This project and the double door hand tool storage was salvaged from like parts from a shed, just an OSB siding. And then moving down a little further, this is all the clamps that I have, but I've been able to make them work. And this is just a really simple clamp rack. All it is one, I don't know, 1x6 piece of wood with a little bit of space in the back. And I'm able to just basically set all my clamps on there. Nothing elaborate, nothing very fancy, but it holds quite a few clamps, various different sizes and shapes, and still has room for more. And then up above the clamp rack, I have a couple of rows that hold my lumber, just a couple of simple racks that I built. Try to keep my supplies at a minimum, so I don't have a whole lot of space, but it has plenty of room for 8-foot boards. Couple different levels here. I got a lot of scrap wood in there as well, a lot of offcuts, but I try to keep that as a minimum at a minimum too. And then now I'm back to the other corner. So back to the garage door, just a 2-car garage door that I need to insulate. That's one of the things that I'd like to do in this upcoming year, 2019. Add some insulation to the garage door. There's a few tools that I want to get. I really could use a planer and a jointer, so those are things that I would like to add to the shop. I would love to have some dust collection, so that's on my goal for 2019. Just that front wall there that has the old 1980s entertainment center. I want to get rid of that, build a workbench, a variety of things that I plan to improve. So that's about it. I hope that you liked this video. If you found it useful, give me a thumbs up, and please consider subscribing to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.